Not much. We're back again, live on location, Greensboro, North Carolina.
Bottom of the barrel. If you're listening to this, you really don't have anything to do today, do you?
Yeah, it kind of sums it up. I kind of feel like that's how our day is going. For those of you who don't know, Randall Bruce speaking, or the artist formerly known as Randall Bruce, you can just call me Jermaine. I'm that dude, and I'm here with
Matthew. Used to be Nathan Styles. Now I'm Matthew.
We're breaking it down, keeping it real for you. We dropped our stage name. We're coming out of witness protection. I don't really know what else to say. All this dead air. Come on, man. You're killing me. This is a podcast.
I was enjoying my coffee.
You enjoy it after you say something.
So, what's going on since the last podcast?
And I don't know. I really don't know. Let's see. Been doing some traveling. Been to Charlotte, Greensboro. And eventually I'll go back home to Charlottesville, Virginia. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing the world, taking in things, experiencing things. But not really. Is there anything that's on your plate, man?
Trying to decide if I'm going to do an open mic tonight.
Oh, yeah, that sounds interesting.
I don't know. I'm trying to work out some new material. New material's hard.
Dude, old material's hard. I wish I had old material.
New material. I don't know why I just don't do my old material, except I want to do new material. I don't know. I'm trying to get up my nerve, but we'll see. If not, I'll go anyway. Go to the D-Box downtown Greensboro. Check it out. Hopefully get inspired by some people.
I was trying to write new material, or any material, today. I was trying to come up with stuff with Britney Spears, but I couldn't. Just made me want to jerk off. I didn't! It's a joke. It's not a good joke. That's all I got.
Actually, it's not bad.
Thanks.
Did you actually come up with any topics?
I don't know. I came up with ramblings when no jokes came out. I mean, the biggest thing that I came up with was how, it is true, and we've talked about this a lot lately, about how it fascinates me how Hollywood makes people crazy. And maybe those people are crazy before they get to Hollywood, but I think the effect Hollywood has on people drives them crazy. So that's why we see a lot of Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Lindsay Lohan, Charlie Sheen, Robert Downey Jr., all those people we've talked about before. And there's much more, but those are just the ones that were on the top of my head earlier today. And, and then there's something about that place that gets in your head.
Maybe Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
But he just be a very normal...
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The dude that plays Steve Urkel. I think he had some issues. If he didn't, he should.
Didn't he have a domestic thing recently?
Yeah, I think he had a DUI, too. I know that's... Oh, my God. But, I mean, come on.
So, that joke writes itself. The cops roll up. Did I do that?
And the sad fact is, he probably tried it.
Hey, the guy's driving a ticket. If I was you're hoping the cop will laugh enough. Or he's like, alright, man, just be safe.
There's no way he couldn't have at least thought it. But that, I tried to make a joke out of that, and I couldn't tie things together to make them funny, and it just came off more as me rambling to myself.
That's okay.
I mean, I can live with myself.
Well, that's probably a bonus.
I'm not going to be hanging myself with a belt. Yeah. Ooh, is that off-color joke? It would get a little too dark. What's going on, man? Matt, you just drank some coffee, man. You got no energy, man. You got to bring some life to this podcast.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. I start doing this thing by myself. You angry? Anything?
I'm thinking.
Bueller. Any movies, actors, actresses?
An actress I saw something recently that I was like, man, I haven't seen her in forever.
And you just want to do her?
Well,
be honest.
Well, she's not actually a name that as soon as you say it, you think that. But I just think she's a really good actress.
I bet I want to do her.
I bet you do.
What's her name?
I don't know of any actresses you haven't wanted to do.
I think I can name a few. But no, what's her name?
You remember Lily Taylor?
I'd want to do her. See, I told you.
I was just thinking the other day, I haven't seen her in anything.
I've seen her in a couple of movies recently. Don't ask me to name them because I blank on names. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, there she is. I didn't say it like that. I said, oh, there she is.
Very manly.
Exactly. Everything I knew was manly.
I saw her in a Netflix series that Eli Roth, who, he's one of Tarantino's, I don't know, protégés maybe, but he did Hostel and... Ugh. Yeah, I hated that movie. But he was in Inglourious Bastards, and anyway, it's only for Netflix, called Hemlock Grove, and it's about werewolves and that whole thing. But the few episodes I saw, it looked like it had potential. But she was in it. I was like, oh yeah. Hadn't seen her anything in years. Keep going. I'm listening. And my podcast partner just left.
No, I'm coming back. I just needed to check something.
That's how much respect we have for each other.
Oh my god.
Maybe we should start.
Tell us some more stuff about Lily Taylor.
Lily Taylor was in Say Anything, which is a great movie. Mystic Pizza. With Vincent D'Onofrio, who has a great line. I won't say it, but you see that movie? I think it was the first movie Julia Roberts was in. Say Anything, it's worth it just to hear her sing. She's one of those people who you're like, wow, you're really talented, and she didn't ever get enough love. But I love you, Lily Taylor. I can't think of anybody else like that.
I was just looking up the names of the movies that I just seen her in, and I know it was Big Flynn, Brooklyn's Finest, and darn it, how could I forget the other one just that quick?
Jermaine's doing some research. Hold by.
Public Enemies. That was the other movie.
She was in that?
Yup. She was a sheriff.
I didn't know she was in that.
So I was like, she keeps popping up in movies. I'm like, oh, there she is.
I want to do a movie with Lily Taylor, Bridget Fonda, because she hasn't been in a movie in 11 years.
And me calling started running a train. Anyway.
Classy.
Sorry, folks.
Who would you want in your movie?
Who wouldn't I want in my movie?
Who wouldn't you want?
I don't know. That's a loaded question, literally. But I don't know. I like too many people. I know that I have to break it up, because when you have a bunch of known actors in one movie, it's like a recipe for disaster. Because then it becomes how much face time, how many lines. Let's take, for instance, The Avengers. And as much as I like that movie, I feel like they had to adjust Hawkeye for Jeremy Renner, because he was hot at the time. And I like Jeremy Renner, don't get me wrong, but that character wears a mask. And I'm pretty sure he was like, God, you can't put a mask on me, because people have to see my face. He had to get the right amount of lines. They never referred to him as Hawkeye in the movie. They referred to him as the Hawk, so you had to make him a little bit cooler. The whole thing about him being up high was stupid to me.
Stupid.
It's just stupid. It's just like, okay, so I don't ever remember Hawkeye doing that crap.
Me either.
But I know I get the Hollywood thing. That's what it was, but I don't know. I think I can only imagine how hard it is for a director to have a movie with that many stars and try to make everybody happy. That seems like it'd be a nightmare. You just got to get the right amount of lines. I think some of those actors will probably, they kind of get it, and they're more about being in the movie and not less worried about them. I think Mark Ruffalo was probably not worried about how many lines he got. I could be wrong, but as many movies as he's been in and as many times as he's been a supporting actor, he doesn't strike me as a guy who's worried about how many lines he got. Does that sound crazy?
A little, but he used to live in Norfolk, I was told.
Thanks, I appreciate this one.
There's some color commentary for you.
I just think about like the X-Men movies and how Halle Berry was flipping out about having more lines, more screen time, and you didn't hear that from any of the actors in the movie, but for her it meant I had to be in the movie 50% of the screening. I don't know, it's crazy, and you don't quote me on that, but I know you can look up the articles; they're there.
I'm not a big Halle Berry fan.
Well, who is?
I guess people are. I mean,
well, she's visually appealing, but
she's one of those people that when you like in high school or maybe even later, and you're thinking, "Wow, that girl's really, really hot," and then she starts talking to you,
and you're like, "Ugh,"
and you're like, "You're not as attractive as you know."
I get that.
That's kind of Halle Berry.
I get that.
And that's probably mean.
It is mean, but it is what it is, Don't cop out and call us haters. We're just telling you how we feel.
That's true. What's like if you could do a movie and not have to put a bunch of people in it, where it's like one guy or one actor? It's interesting to me that Martin Scorsese can basically have anybody he wants.
Yeah, and see, of course, the fact that you said Martin Scorsese, you pretty much pick the one person. If it's a male character, who I would pick Robert De Niro. Female, I like so many. I think. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I would do Robert De Niro and then have Jennifer Lawrence. Maybe throw Bradley Cooper in. Maybe have Bradley Cooper as the son. Have this little love thing going on between Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes, we all know still on the phone.
No, wait, what? Has that been done?
I was like, I know where he's going. I think. And I don't know what it is about this actress, but I would have to put her in my movie, and I don't even know how I would write this movie, but I think it would have to be Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah.
Something about her. I feel like you can make any movie about her starring my penis.
I might pick that up.
I'm sorry, with technical difficulties. Just kidding, folks. I'm sorry. It's my hook.
She's good at both comedy and drama. I don't know that when New Girl came on, I didn't necessarily thought of her as a comedic actress.
I didn't.
I mean, I guess
she's done funny stuff, but I didn't. I don't know. I was gonna watch it regardless, but I think.
Was it 500 Days of Summer?
Love it.
I love that scene where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is going on and on about how summer is perfect. I love her. I love the mole on her left cheek. I love this. I love the way she does this.
Right.
And there's her as an actress. There's not a lot of actresses that would be able to write that part, and you'd be like, "Yep, I agree." I do love the mole on her left cheek, and I do love, you can see it. Which a bit later on, he's like, "I hate everything."
Yeah. That movie, and like as you get towards the ending, and I won't get into it because it's a spoiler alert, but there's something about when that relationship breaks down and once they get to the ending and they do the whole split screen thing, that I think is amazing because you get her perspective, his perspective, and how they don't always match up like in real life, which I thought was awesome. But you need to see the movie, so I don't want to ruin it for you. But you need to see the movie that she's in, Eulogy.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
You need to see that. That's pretty funny, It's comedy. It's a black comedy. So
I don't get racial. I don't see color.
Black as in dark comedy, not black as in racial.
Oh. Yeah, I knew that.
But yeah, she's done some interesting movies, and I don't think she gets enough credit. And usually, it's amazing to me that agents and other Hollywood execs use her as almost as a put down to certain actresses. Like they told Whitney Cummings, and I think I may have told you the story, like when things were starting to happen for her, that she would be nothing more than a Zooey Deschanel character, where she'd be the odd looking girl / friend. I was like, isn't that a put down?
Yeah. It's funny because my uncle is a huge fan of, is it Emily? What's her sister's name?
Yeah, Emily.
Emily Deschanel.
Yep.
He'll watch Bones and be like, "That's the most attractive woman I've ever seen." And so I was like, "Oh, have you watched New Girl? What do you think of Zooey Deschanel?" And he's like, "Eh." He's like, "She definitely didn't that her sisters look.
What?
And I can kind of see that in a way, because Emily looks a certain way. She's taller. She's got more of the, maybe, for lack of a better way of putting it, model look, or something like that. But, I mean, Zoe Deschanel has probably done more modeling in real life than her sister.
That's true.
And she's got kind of a unique look, which I like. And whatever she's doing, it's working for her.
Yeah, she's got some really interesting movies if you ever get a chance that aren't they're independent films. Like there's another one called Flakes and All the Real Girls. Good stuff.
I saw.
Sorry. I was gonna say, friends of ours would not be into them. They don't have any explosion. They're dialogue driven, and they don't always give you the perfect ending where you and sometimes make you think for yourself. And I know those movies aren't very popular with the masses.
Talking about uplifting movies, I saw Blue Valentine.
Oh, slit your throat. I'm joking, folks. Suicide is nothing to joke about.
This is a good movie.
Yeah, I love it. I think this says a lot about me. I like all these depressing movies.
But it's Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams, and Michelle Williams is someone I never really gave much thought to for a long time.
I'm right there with you. She climbed the ladder for me with that movie.
Well, I knew her from Dawson's Creek.
I tried to block that out.
And as much, I didn't really watch that much. I had a couple friends that were huge Dawson's Creek fans.
Can I stop you? Were they chicks?
Actually, no.
Oh my God.
At least one of them was not. I don't know.
Shocking news on the Bottom of the Barrel podcast, dudes. Dawson's Creek. Go on.
And I guess him talking it up, I kind of appreciated it a little bit, but I could just never get into that show. But so I saw a few episodes, and the one character over anyone that just annoyed the crap out of me was the Michelle Williams character.
I haven't seen it.
I wasn't even convinced she could act. I was just thought this person's horrible, and which is interesting because she's, I think anyone would say, the best actor that come out of that group.
I'll say it.
I mean, James Vanderbeek, Michelle Williams, it's toss up. She's definitely had the best career. I mean, for a while maybe Katie Holmes could have had the best commercial success, but I think she kind of blew that. But
phone call on the podcast.
There's a phone call. Let's take a break. Take it over, man.
Back with the realness. Talking about Michelle Williams. Definitely the way about an actress in that Dawson's Creek group. I've become a big fan. Like he said, after seeing Blue Valentine, very depressing movie. But she definitely, she and Ryan Gosling are really good in the movie. But in watching that movie and seeing an interview with her, she kind of impressed me. Made me think that she comes across as a level-headed person in Hollywood who understands how things are done and how the industry works. And here's Matt back, so you can stop listening to me ramble.
I'm very sorry. What were we talking about?
Michelle Williams.
Actually, the person that just called me has a Michelle Williams story.
Yeah, well, why don't you tell us that Michelle Williams story? Because that story goes with what I was just saying about how I saw an interview with her and how down to earth and how cool she seems. Like she understands her celebrity probably better than anyone.
Yeah, and I already feel like the very few podcasts we have, I might be repeating stories, so I apologize if I am.
I don't think we told this story before.
Okay, but my wife used to live for at least a summer or so. Anyway, she lived in Wilmington, North Carolina for a bit, which is where they filmed Dawson's Creek, and she encountered two cast members during that time. One was Katie Holmes, and as she was walking one day, she noticed Katie Holmes getting into her apartment and leaving her keys in the door. And she said, should I say anything? Because her keys are right in the door and she doesn't realize it. So she walked up, knocked on her door. Katie Holmes answered the door. She said, I'm not trying to bother you, just you left your keys, in your door. Katie Holmes grabs the keys, slams the door in her face. That's it.
Not Katie.
No, thank you. And this is when everybody thought she was a nice person. No thanks, no anything. And I mean, Excuse me. Well,
yeah,
people know who she is.
Yeah, Christiane will be on. She's our next guest on my podcast. So,
but she wasn't even after any like an autograph, nothing like that. It was just came off very rude. And she had a reputation at one of the local eateries of being difficult to deal with.
You're saying she's a stone cold bitch.
I'm not saying that because she could maybe still ruin my podcast career.
Yeah, come find me, Katie.
That was Jermaine.
Yeah, whatever. What are you gonna do? I don't know.
But then she's.
See, I didn't say anything sexual there.
You will.
I won't. I'm changed. I'm grown. I'm a new man.
Dude, I'm proud of you. That happened just a couple seconds ago.
Yeah. Evolving as this podcast is dying. Keep going.
So she also, she also had an encounter with Michelle Williams. Nothing much at all. Just she saw her at an airport and basically just said hello and had a nice exchange with her. And where she was like, wow, she's really nice. And that was the impression she came away with. Is, Michelle Williams is extremely nice. Katie Williams, not as much. So it's kind of cool that the nice people, when they kind of finish first, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was saying, that interview that I saw, which is what made me watch Blue Valentine, was her, and I was like, wow, she seemed really cool. And, anyone can say that about any interview that they see, but this was someone who I really had no interest in, and for some reason decided to sit down and listen to what she had to say, and came away thinking like, wow, I'm very impressed by her, which made me watch that movie, and then that movie made me watch some other movies, and man, she's, talk about being in some indie movies that kind of caught me off guard that I liked a lot. Have you seen the movie Wendy and Lucy?
No, I heard. Did she get nominated for that? They were talking
nothing major. A lot of Independent Spirit Award, that kind of stuff.
I don't think the movie was big enough, but I know thought that she might.
It's a movie that yourself being a dog lover, I think you would totally love this movie and understand that she is kind of a drifter in the movie and loses her dog, and most of the movie is her looking for her dog, and there's a lot more to it, but I definitely, it's a must watch. I came away going, wow, it's a pretty good movie, but it again, really made me like her even more. She's in Shutter Island, which was a huge movie at the time. One that I think a lot of people, she got nominated for, and people kind of seem to gloss over a little bit, was My Week with Marilyn.
Did you see that?
I did. I liked it, and I was really impressed. I had my doubts about her playing Marilyn Monroe, but she did a really good job, because I was like, dang, she kind of just, I know a lot of people would be angry with her being Marilyn Monroe, but she kind of sold the whole sex appeal. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dang, I liked her before, I really like her now. I don't know, I thought she was really good in that movie, and I was a little disappointed that she didn't win the Academy Award, but what the hell do I know about the Academy?
I don't know.
Another good movie that she was in was The Baxter. Yeah. Imaginary Heroes. She was in The Station Agent, which I recently saw. It was an excellent movie. She was also in a movie called Dick. I just wanted to say that. It has no reference to it. I've never seen it.
I like that independent thing you were doing.
I'm sorry, folks, I'm regret.
When you were asking for casting calls in your apartment.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I saw a movie she was in recently that I liked called Take This Waltz.
I don't see that.
It was directed by Sarah Polley, who some people would know from the movie Go. She was the girl.
Is she blonde too?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She was the one that was selling fake ecstasy.
Oh, and I like that movie a lot too. Yeah. So I definitely, now you make me want to watch it even more.
Well, I don't even know how much Polley's acting right now. I think she's developed a really good reputation just recently as a director.
Is there anything else that?
Away From Her was her first, and I think this
I have to look that up.
Take This Waltz is her second movie.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's Take This Waltz is interesting because it starts off pretty weak. Usually a movie will start off strong, and it's the ending that you're kind of like, oh, well, it's all good up until the end.
Right.
To me, Take This Waltz was Only the beginning was kind of weak, and then they spent the rest of the movie making up for it, and it just kind of steadily got better. I was impressed by it because she's not, the things she does in this film, she's not the most likable person, but since she's just inherently likable anyway, it kind of adds another dimension to it, where you, instead of, somebody that you would just immediately dislike, you kind of like her, and then you realize she's not that great a person.
See, and she has a character, have you seen Mammoth?
No.
It's similar like that, your character, you like her, and then you're like, she'd be hard to be with, but, she's got a good heart, but, you're like, oh, why can't she get over that part of her personality? So I kind of see similarities. I haven't seen Take This Waltz.
It's similar in plot a bit to Blue Valentine. So it's not the feel-good movie.
Mammoth is not the feel-good movie. There is
the pattern.
You're like, what? But keep going.
Let's see. I haven't seen a lot. You've seen more of her films than me so far, but
yeah, I will admit, like once I find I like someone, I go all in and try to as many of her movies as I could watch. I'd watch them, and I've seen a bit, and I gotta say, I'm impressed. Each time I watch one of her movies, I come away more impressed by her. Even the small roles that she has in movies.
Yeah.
I'm just like, again, if you're talking about someone as weird, must-have people, she would definitely be on my list.
You know what's funny is back when her and Heath Ledger were together, Heath Ledger was, this heartthrob and a huge star, way bigger than her.
Right.
And yet you're like, wait, he's with her? And I remember at the time thinking like, why is he from that annoying chick from across the street? I was like, he doesn't have very good taste in women. Now I'm like, oh, I get it.
See, I never thought much about it then. I didn't even realize they were together and had a daughter.
Yeah.
Until, again, sitting down listening to her interview. And I was like, oh, that's the one he had the kid with. And the more, like I said, more and more I see interviews and stuff with her, I'm like, yeah, I kind of see why he was into her. Call me crazy.
Crazy.
I appreciate it. So you didn't give me yours.
Man, see, it's tough.
That's what I said.
I always think of people. If I was a director, I'd have to put, I'll call it actor for a minute. I'd have to put Gary Oldman in a movie.
He's awesome.
There's got to be somebody that I would just kind of like Travolta and what Tarantino did for Travolta. There's got to be somebody out there I'd want to like resurrect their career a little bit.
Winona Ryder.
Yeah, I think her. I would definitely try to put her in the movie. I think she's a good actress. And as we discussed before, I still don't understand all the strange hate.
I don't get it.
Just because she likes nice things.
Everything is maybe a tad bit sticky.
It actually fascinates me because her godfather was Timothy Leary, who was the big LSD guy.
Right.
And she grew up like on a commune of some sort. She just had some weird upbringing.
Well, see, I think about that just makes me think of Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And no one wants to talk about like what happened before. Excuse me. And then he became a star and then he just started going crazy. It's like
his dad was insane.
He had stuff happening before.
His dad got him high for the first time when he was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And he admits it.
Yeah. He still says, I don't see what the big deal is.
It's like, the guy never had a chance. It's amazing he's doing as well as he's doing.
Started behind the 8 ball, literally, no puns.
I don't know what other. I like Jennifer Lawrence a lot. I know that's not original right now.
No, she's good.
She's kind of the hit girl of the moment. But I remember watching.
And I also don't think there's nothing wrong about saying that because there are a lot of people that they still don't get it or even annoyed by her, which I don't get because she seems way too likable to be annoyed by her. But we know some people that aren't impressed.
That's crazy.
Well, that's a story for another day.
I remember it was at Winter's Bone, the movie that she got nominated for the Academy Award.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
I saw it and she was really good, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I remember watching the Academy Awards that year, and they're like, oh, this is a girl from Winter's Bone. And I was like, holy moly. Because she's totally, they don't pretty her up in that movie.
Right.
And then I saw her at the Academy Awards. I'm like, dang, she's really attractive. And I think she, to her credit, elevates things like the Hunger Games. And I'm not going to hate on the Hunger Games, but it's, you know, it is what it is. It's not Shakespeare.
No, but it's intriguing.
But she elevates that film, I believe, for those. I guess the second one's getting ready to come out. But, I mean, because think of people might, even though it's completely different, people might compare that as the same kind of age group is often interested. Might compare it to Twilight.
It's not.
It is better, but B, Twilight had Kristen Stewart, Hunger Games got Jennifer Lawrence. I'd rather watch Hunger Games.
For real. I don't know. To me, it's not as sappy, not as. I don't know. Twilight just seems like someone vomited. And I know it's a book, and I used to work in an unnamed bookstore, so I was around before the movies came out and the books were really popular, and just hearing people lead up to this movie, and when people are talking to you about it, you just like, ugh, no way I'd want to see it. And then I see it on the screen, and I'm like, ugh. Even though I haven't seen the movie, but just the trailers make me want to barf. And you've unfortunately seen some of the movies.
Yes, the wife is into both the books and the movies, and I think I've sat through at least 2 of the movies. I've refused on a couple as well. I'm going to do my best not to see the rest of them.
I really don't know what to say about those. And the thing is, I know it's not that, you know, like the actors and stuff don't bother me, but it just the movie and the drama that goes around it bothers me. Because I don't have any opinions on Kristen Stewart. She doesn't bother me. I've seen her in other movies that aren't Twilight, and I'm like, it's not that bad. And not like I'm saying she's that great, but you know, some of her movies that are not Twilight are decent. But I understand why she did it. You know, it leads to other things. I can never hate on people doing things that I hate. If that makes any sense.
No.
What else you got, man?
No. I'd like to put Jim Caviezel in a movie because he was in The Passion of the Christ and The Thin Red Line, and after The Passion of the Christ, he didn't really get any work until recently. He got a TV show.
Put in a movie jail.
Yeah, and he said it pretty much destroyed his career to be in that film. And I think he's actually a pretty good actor. Not every movie he's done is great or anything, but I think he's a solid actor.
I mean, see, and that's like when I'm thinking about how Hollywood makes people crazy. That's the stuff that makes people crazy because he did nothing wrong being in that movie. But that movie angered some of the wrong people in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? And they held that against being in that movie. Again, I don't know. To me, it's petty and stupid, but that's Hollywood. And that's what drives people crazy.
Oh, yeah, it's wrong.
Because any other movie, that movie was huge. Any other movie that you were in that did the numbers that movie did, you're skyrocketing to fame. You're writing your own ticket.
Why wasn't he in the next Avengers movie or something?
There you go.
That film was the highest grossing R-rated movie ever. It just was a crazy business.
How's he not the biggest actor on we know why, but seriously, being in a movie that did that well, and you know there's a lot of other stuff behind it, I don't want to get into that, but that's what that place does, you know.
Yeah.
Any other movie any other movie, I don't know, call me crazy, he would be one of the biggest actors on the planet right now. Because when did that come out?
I can't remember exactly.
He would have been either one of the villains in the Batman movie, one of the heroes in the Avengers movie. Maybe he's Iron Man. Don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
I could actually kind of see him doing it. Not that, I mean, Downey's perfect, but...
Yeah, no one's saying we don't like Robert Downey Jr. I'm just saying, if through the normal progression in Hollywood, if he got what was coming to him, he would be... You know, one of these guys like Hugh Jackman that got that big superhero role that led to all this other stuff that, you know, made that star rise.
It came out, Passion of the Christ came out in 2004.
Okay.
You basically didn't hear about Caviezel again.
Until like 2 years ago.
A year or two ago.
When he got that TV show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for me.
I mean, he did a movie where he played Bobby Jones that was kind of a little family movie. And that was it. I mean, he's done, I guess, some things, but nothing like you would expect.
Put him in movie jail. Executives, Hollywood. You know who you are. You know who you are. The same people constantly greenlight Medea movies.
You can't hate Medea
because I'm black. Oh, now it comes out.
Did somebody say that to you? Or I think that's somebody else. I could have sworn somebody was like,
they said, this is what they said. Well, working at said unnamed bookstore, this guy who happens to be white brought up one of the Medea books, and I can't remember what it was about, but it was written by what's the guy? I'm drawing a blank on his name.
The author?
Tyler Perry.
Yeah, Tyler Perry.
Yeah, it was some
based off a book.
It was.
Or a play. Didn't he write a play or something?
I know he's written several plays, but it was I can't remember what. I'll have to look up the name while we're talking. But so he brings up the book and he's got the big picture of Medea on it, and he's like, I love her. My wife loves her. And I was like, her? Not trying to be funny, but I was like, that's great, because I wasn't trying to be a dick, because unfortunately in that line of work, it's easy to judge the things that people read, and people feel very, they're like, oh, don't judge me by the books I read. So, I didn't want to be a dick when he brought up the book and was like, I love her. He's like, obviously you love her. And I was like, that I could have flied off the handle, lost my job, and everyone would be like, oh, you gotta control yourself. But it's annoying and funny all at the same time that he just assumed because I'm black that I like Medea. And if only he knew I disliked her and disliked the concept of it. And even, I respectfully said, no, I'm not really a big fan. And, he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, phew, thank goodness this didn't go anywhere.
Probably walking out, talking to his wife.
He must be one of those older comics.
Is he like from Europe or something?
He's like Wayne Brady. Just kidding, I like Wayne Brady. And
I like Wayne Brady a lot, which we could mention his little...
I think we should, since we've already jumped into it.
Bill Maher said something about how, he likes to rag on Wayne Brady and for not being black enough, which is a concept that I'm not black, but it offends me. Like, it really pisses me off.
It pisses me off, and I am black.
And just, I don't know. I don't like Bill Maher, I'll admit that. I think he's got a couple good jokes, and he's good at what he does, but I think he's not nearly as intelligent as people give him credit for, and he likes to be divisive. And saying stuff like that is just... And I love Wayne Brady's response, where he said, just because you dated some black chicks in your life. It's
true. He seems to think he's tapped in, which, when, you sent me the article, I was like, son of a bitch, I hate that shit.
To me, it's racist.
It very much so.
And the fact that somehow it's not, and it's excused, and I can't be racist because, I don't know, because I'm liberal or I've dated some black chicks. I don't know what the excuse is, or Wayne Brady's just an acceptable target and you can't.
And I think if it was anyone else, and maybe I'm flying off the handle because I say anyone else all the time. But since people, even though they won't admit it, they feel that way about Wayne Brady, that, he's black, but he doesn't act black, is what, I often hear people say about Wayne Brady.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not fair. You can't say that. But, that's just the way people view Wayne Brady, and it just annoys the hell out of me, because I'm not gonna lie to you, when I read it, I was furious. I hate when people try to say, I don't know, I can't get my thoughts together, but when you try to say, well, is this guy black enough, or what am I trying to say? Okay, here's one thing that frustrates me. I hate when someone outside of a race tries to tell someone inside of a race how their race should be.
Yeah.
I guess that's the best way of saying it. So being that Bill Maher is white and trying to tell Wayne Brady he's not black enough.
Bill Maher is. Like,
yeah, exactly.
He's the authority.
And it pisses me off, like, go back to the issue with Rob Parker and RG3, where it pisses me off even more when Rob Parker, who is black, tells RG3, who is black, that he's not black enough. That pisses me off even more, being that they're both black, and you're like, I'm blacker than you.
And remember some of his rationale. We're not sure that we think he's voted Republican.
What does that matter?
Who cares? He's got a white fiance.
Who cares? Which, white people should be frustrated by that, but they can't, because that would make them seem like a racist.
But yeah,
or they'd be accused of being a racist.
Isn't that not a racist statement?
It very much is.
What is wrong with this? I didn't know I could.
See, and there's so many layers to that Rob Parker thing, and that's one of the things I kept bringing up. But I was like, and a lot of people, you were like, "Oh, come on, Jermaine." I'm like, no. If I was white and I heard Rob Parker say that, I'd be like, "Hey, what the hell?"
You can't really say that.
No, because you're accused of being a racist.
Yeah.
That's how fucked up things are.
It's just so stupid.
I mean, it's so fucked up that no one, to me, it felt like no one batted an eye that Bill Maher said this. And, people even seemed shocked that Wayne Brady came back and said something.
Yeah.
And I think the things that Wayne Brady said, I think he handled it as well as he possibly could.
Well, I think, and this is from, my white boy perspective, but when Brady is saying, why is, as he put it, the guy that goes, "Hey, yo, yo, yo," why is that the acceptable black man? And
why indeed?
And it's just weird, and I don't know. It pisses me off, and I think if I was black, I'd really be pissed off.
Hello. I was when I read it, and when another friend told me about it, and I was like, I was like, don't read it because you're gonna be pissed. And I was already pissed hearing about it, and then I read it, and I was like, this is the shit I can't stand. I don't know. It just.
But nobody will call Bill Maher racist.
No,
because he's on the right side of politics or whatever.
Hollywood,
whatever.
And a lot of people, and like you said, unfortunately, a lot of people are like, "Yeah, what's the big deal? Yeah, Wayne Brady doesn't seem black enough," which is unfair.
Yeah, I don't even know how to say it.
Yeah, I feel like I can't express how unfair
it is. He likes to sing and not rap, therefore he's not black enough. And unfortunately, there's some truth to that. That's exactly what people are thinking. Like, well, look at the way he dresses. Well, what's wrong with that? His clothes fit? Is that a bad thing? Are they a little bit tighter than most people? Well, yeah, but that's his thing. Well, he doesn't fit a stereotype. Isn't that being original? Depends on what circle you're in. Yeah. There are a lot of black people that would call Wayne Brady a sellout, which I don't get. Oh, sure. It's not fair, but it's unfortunate. It's there, like Rob Parker calling RG3 a cornball. It's like, what the hell? I don't know. Yeah, that drove me crazy. Didn't they eventually fire him on Parker? Did they? I thought it was a 30-day thing. Did they actually? I think they, if I remember right, they gave him a 30-day suspension, and he was on another show talking about it. Somebody brought it up, and he basically said, he basically unapologized. And even might have said something else along the lines of what he had said earlier. So that's when the ESPN had to do something. It's like, okay, well, I had to apologize, but I didn't really mean it, that kind of thing. Well, and I hope we don't lose anybody because we're talking about race, but it's something that comes up, and it always, people's rationale and reasoning behind dumbass statements always bother me. Like, I don't know if you remember when I just blanked on his name. Gary Sheffield, when he was with the Yankees, and he talked about there being backlash against black baseball players, that teams don't want to deal with outspoken black players. They'd rather get white players or Latino players, because Latino players never complain, is what he's saying. And I was like, I don't really jive with that, because he was saying that, look at the number of black baseball players that, how the numbers have gone down. And I think that's more so because you're seeing, I know when I was growing up, and this was like in the 80s and 90s when I graduated high school, baseball was a bigger sport, so there were more, you saw like a very
diverse crowd, and then eventually baseball stopped becoming as popular. And I can only speak from being black. It was harder to get other black kids to play baseball because basketball and football had become more popular. So you're seeing, and especially you're seeing more young black youth move into those sports because of the popularity of it. And I think that's all it is. And parents I know when I was growing up, baseball was a big thing for our parents, so we played baseball. But now, with a younger generation, you're seeing they like football and basketball, and they don't really talk about baseball. And I think you see that with, and we always tend to flock to people, whether it's right or wrong, that look like us. Yeah. If that makes any sense. Yeah. So if, majority of the people I know who are black are playing basketball, then I'm going to play basketball. Whereas, if the majority of people are playing baseball, you're probably going to play baseball. And there's times where we just say bump it and we play wherever. But, whoa. Dog took a deep breath, kind of scared me. I noticed the trend, and I'll get back to my point, but where you're seeing not as many white players playing basketball and football and playing more baseball and whatever sport. And it's just one of those things where I think they're being discouraged by their parents, which it may sound crazy, but I feel like, because if someone says to me, a white guy can't play basketball just because he's white, I think that's bullshit. And I don't think white people are like, we can't play basketball, let's go play baseball. It's, why don't you play baseball, not basketball, or my friends are playing baseball, that kind of thing. So that's why I think, what Gary Sheffield is saying is not true. I just think more black athletes aren't playing baseball. They're not being discriminated against, if that sounds crazy. I just think there's less amount of black athletes playing baseball. Right. Yeah. Which I know that took, went around left field literally to get to that point. But, so he was saying that those owners don't want to deal with black baseball players. And people were like, well, what about Derek Jeter? And Gary Sheffield's response was, well, he's not really black. That's messed up. Because, Derek Jeter, if you don't know, is biracial. And it is messed up on so many levels because he says, he's just like, Derek Jeter's not really black. But yet, Gary Sheffield has a biracial child.
So does he call his child not really black?
See, and Gary Sheffield didn't see any problem with what he said. He's like, I'm being honest, he's not black. Well, he kind of is. He's half black, half white.
Is it just skin tone? I bet he doesn't say the same thing about Barack Obama.
No, I bet. I put money on it.
I don't know. Or it's just, and my point.
And that's, and I know I got off on a tangent to get back there because, that was a big, they did a big thing on ESPN about, why are there less amount of white kids playing basketball? And one of the guys, Tim Legler, their basketball analyst, said that, he doesn't understand it and that he thinks, and I kind of agree with him, that white kids are being discouraged from playing basketball because, their parents are telling them, you can't play with those guys, they're better athletes than you. And he even said his brother-in-law said it to his nephew, and he, flew off the handle. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, what are you doing to this kid? And I think that's happening. And I think that happens to black kids with baseball, where they're like, that's not your sport. Unfortunately, I think parents and people are saying stuff to them like that. And I think that's what happens with white basketball players. They're being discouraged.
You're slow. White guy's too slow.
You can't jump. You're not fast enough.
It's kind of racist.
It's very racist.
I mean, it's funny that people don't see it, because it's kind of like insulting your own race, but yet it's racist.
Well, I've said this, and I don't know if I told you this. I said I had a disagreement with someone, and I'll tell you the exact same thing. The thing they said. They said with supreme confidence that no college basketball team with 3 white players starting win the national title. And I said, well, your statement is already false because it's happened before. They're like, no, I mean in today's college basketball. And I said, do you realize how racist that sounds? And because he was black, he didn't see that was racist. But I'm like, that's a racist comment. And, he stood firm behind. He's like, watch, no team with 3 white players starting will win the national title. Well, Duke won the national title that year. They had 3 white players starting. So I said, and I hate Duke.
Right.
And I said, hey man, your theory. And then he was like, he tried to like, what? No big deal, whatever. I'm like, no.
You see, you said it.
I'm like, you said, and this happened. And then you take like one of the team they beat, if I'm not mistaken, Butler had 3 white players starting. Which, I was like, yes, I told you. And, I love that stuff because I hate when people try to say, the color of your race determines what you'll do or what people will do. And I said, well, if you're going to say that, then all the bad things that people say about black people are true. And he's like, no. I was like, well, you can't just take the good stuff, the good cliches or the good whatever stereotypes and say that those are okay and not accept the bad one. Is that, that drove me crazy. Hold that thought. Okay.
Well, going back to kind of some points you were making, I thought about there's actually a commercial out right now that it was just this moment. I feel like it's kind of racist. And it's really subtle, but have you seen that commercial with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and Kareem and Bill Russell?
Yeah, with the high five.
Yeah, where they're talking about what's better, being fast or being slow.
Yeah.
What's better, the fast break?
It's exactly what we were just talking about.
And they're like, fast breaks, around the fast break's good. Well, unless you're old Larry, I guess it wasn't always so fast. And, they're picking on Larry Bird for being slow. And I really like that commercial.
Me too.
I think it's funny. But
it plays into that stereotype.
It totally, and you would always hear about Larry Bird, he's slow, he can't jump, there was some truth to it.
Right.
But he kind of,
Larry Bird was a bad man.
He was an awesome basketball player. And they made him, that's kind of what they kind of stereotyped him into.
Right.
Oh, well, he's just this slow white guy that can still somehow hang with the black guys because he can shoot. And
it's frustrating, man. And people, they play up that stereotype, which drives me crazy.
I mean, the guy was really good. And, I think that's part of, I don't know, that just bothers me too. Because, like you said, Larry Bird, and there's nobody out there that people respected much more than him. And yet, as great a player as he is, it's always like, oh, well, he's slow. And just like any other white guy that comes along, they're going to compare him to Larry Bird, which is a backhanded compliment. It's because it's like, oh, well, if there's a white player that's able to come out, he'll be slow and he won't be able to jump.
That's just totally what they do. Do you remember when Toby Gerhardt was coming out of college? For those who don't know, Toby Gerhardt was a Heisman Trophy candidate for Stanford, was a starting running back. He was bigger than Andrew Luck when they were there together. And when he coming out of college, when he entered the NFL draft, everyone, because, he's a big white running back, so everyone immediately compared him to John Riggins. They're like, he's just like John Riggins. And I remember saying to people, I don't think they run the same way. I was like, the only thing that you can say is that they're both white and running back. I was like, but I don't see the John Riggins comparison. But that was just me. And I thought maybe I'm jumping the gun on that. And in an interview, I guess he had got so tired of hearing that, and he's like, I hate when people compare me to John Riggins. He's like, not that John Riggins is a great running back, but our running styles are different. He's like, I think I run more like Eddie George. And people were like, whoa!
Awesome.
No, he looks nothing like it. And when you think about it, he's a lot like Eddie George. I didn't really have anyone I compared him to. I just liked him a lot. And but I was proud of him for saying people are only comparing me to John Riggins because I'm a white running back. I'm like, at least he had the guts to say it. And people kind of got pissed off and got defensive. But that's what they were doing.
Well, because they might not even realize it. But yeah, and then they get called out on it.
And they're like, no.
He's
being a dick. What if he doesn't like John Riggins?
When in actuality, they should be embarrassed and say, "Oh yeah, you're right. That's a weird one." Well, and just another point of that commercial, real quick, that I was talking about. What if you had James Worthy in Larry Bird's spot, and they had said, for somebody that wasn't particularly fast, they said, "Oh well, I guess it wasn't more of a slow break when James ran it." Nobody would get the joke.
No.
But since it's the white guy, everybody gets the joke.
No, I totally get it. And like, it's but no, people didn't flip out about what Toby Gerhardt said. It was just like, oh yeah, okay. It wasn't like a big backlash or anything. But remember when everyone last year compared RG3 to Cam Newton? And if anyone's watched them play, their games really aren't that similar, other than the fact that they're both black quarterbacks and they do scramble. So, they're like, oh, RG3 is like Cam Newton. And RG3 says, I don't think my game's similar to Cam Newton. I feel like, I'm more like Aaron Rodgers, or I want to be compared to Aaron Rodgers. And everybody flipped out. Because, he's saying the black quarterback being compared to a black quarterback's not good enough. You see the double standard there? Like, I don't know.
What's wrong with being compared to a white quarterback?
it was people flipped out. Yeah. And automatically it became, he dissed Cam Newton. And it was like, no, he wanted to be, Cam Newton's a good quarterback, he's very talented, but he wanted to be compared to one of the best in the game. And if you ask anyone, Aaron Rodgers, if he's not the best, he's one of the top three. Oh, yeah. But people flipped out because Aaron Rodgers is white and he wanted to be compared to that, and that wasn't good enough.
This is so strange. It's like all these people that say we shouldn't focus on race, all they do is focus on race, it feels like.
And then it makes me feel like that's all I'm talking about. And anyone who knows me knows I don't want to talk about it. But I get sucked into the stupidity of the thing. Because, I didn't see anything wrong with what Toby Gerhardt said, and I didn't see anything wrong with what RG3 said. But I think people got more upset about RG3 saying what he said, because it's almost like as he spit on the black race. And I can say that as a black man, that's how people acted. It's crazy.
Well, I don't know, because I guess there's a lot of people that feel like Rob Parker feels.
I know so, unfortunately. There are a lot of people that have more issue with the fact that Robert Griffin III's fiance is white than they do about anything else. They could care less that he votes Republican if he does, which we don't know.
There's a nasty rumor.
Which is that the worst thing anyone could do? They act like it. But there are a lot of people that have more problem with that, which is insane to me at this time and age.
And after Rob Parker said, well, his hair is black. Remember that comment? Of like,
see, the more we break it down, the worse it sounds. Was got the cornrows or whatever.
It's ESPN sometimes. I feel like they should just blow up that network and start over.
They've been doing everyone a favor.
Skip Bayless and
Stephen A. Smith.
Oh my god.
I'll sum up Stephen A. Smith like this. He'll criticize everyone but the stars because they're his friend. Now that's journalism, folks.
I used to think that was like a conflict of interest.
Yeah, well, tell that to Michael Wilbon. I used to be a big fan of Michael Wilbon, but as soon as he went all in on ESPN, he became the guy who I'll dog out every player but the stars. The ones that give me the scoops, the ones that will invite me into their homes and sit down with them. Is that fair? Nope, but call it like I see it.
Roger Ebert wrote an opinion piece probably 3-4 years ago about, because there was a guy that when it was obvious he couldn't come back to that show anymore. They revamped it, and Rich Roper left, and they revamped it with Ben Lyons and Ben Mankiewicz, I believe, if I'm remembering it right. Ben Lyons was like 22 years old and horrible. He just is not a critic, and one of the things he would do is give great reviews films, because he was just a whore for these guys. Like, Will Smith is like, oh, I love Will Smith. I could never. I think, if I remember right, he said I Am Legend was one of the greatest films ever made.
Whoa, and I haven't seen I Am Legend, and people like it, and it's on my list of things to see, but there's no way I can believe that statement.
But for a guy that calls himself a film critic, to put, Citizen Kane on the
No. I haven't seen it. I haven't even seen Citizen Kane, and I know it's on my list, folks. But I know that's crazy, just like you said.
What Lyons was doing, well, for one thing, he got the job because his dad is a famous critic. But Lyons, he's always being photographed with actors, and he should be reviewing objectively. I'm not trying to speak. Sorry.
Are you an English major?
Nobody was. I guess people were kind of really annoyed by this, and Roger Ebert wrote a thing where he said these are the rules of a film critic. You cannot have your picture taken with these guys. You have to be willing to give a bad review. All these things, and it was a total shot at Ben Lyons. They never mentioned him by name, and everybody knew what he was talking about.
Right.
Which was rather clever. But the fact that everybody knew who you were talking about,
it speaks volumes.
Right, exactly.
Oh.
And that's what is going on with ESPN, is these guys, I mean, they can't, there's so many of them are friends with Jordan, they would never say anything about Jordan. That was even true back in the Maher shot, days.
Right, they wouldn't. But do you remember, how they beat down Vince Carter? And I'm not talking about the Vince Carter I play when I want to play, but when Vince Carter, early in his career, looked like one of the next big players, and he was going 100%, and Toronto was in a big Game 7, the second round, I think, with Philadelphia. And Vince Carter, who left the University of North Carolina early, was still taking classes, went back, got his degree. Now, he was supposed to graduate on the same day that he played a Game 7. He was going to go to his graduation, and he had Dean Smith, the coach, his coach, when he was at Carolina, when retired, had arranged a private plane to get him back to Philadelphia in time for the game. And he was allowed to go to his graduation. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's something he had promised his mom. And if anyone knows anything about Vince Carter, he has a very close relationship with his mother. And it was something he promised her. It was something he wanted to do. And he wanted to walk at his graduation. You think, that's great, man. How many times do we hear about athletes going back to school and taking their education seriously? Well, that day, Vince Carter was being blasted by everyone because NBC carried the game. And it was Ahmad Rashad, Isaiah Thomas, I think Peter Vesey, and a couple other people. I can't remember who else was at their round table. But you could go to ESPN, whatever, CNN, SI, everyone was saying the same thing. Like, he doesn't understand the magnitude of this moment. You can always get your degree. They can mail that thing to you. And you're like, really? Really? I mean, we're talking about a basketball game that he can do in his sleep. Yeah. That, he can run out on court and play. But they were all like, oh my God, he doesn't have his priorities straight. And I was just like, I was furious that everyone jumped on that.
In the next breath, we'll talk about how important education is.
Exactly. Now, with that said, it was a thrilling game. Vince Carter scored, if I'm not mistaken, 40, 45, close to 50 points in that game. He was amazing. So you're like, yeah, being a fan of Vince Carter, I was like, see, it's in your face. But unfortunately, that game came down to the last shot. Vince Carter had to take the last shot. He took it and missed it.
And the whole reason he missed it was because he went to his graduation.
And you knew that was coming. Yeah. Because they spent the whole day saying this guy had his priorities, didn't have his priorities straight. And I respect, Larry Brown, if you know anything about him, has done things that make you go, I can't trust this guy. But he was the coach of the 76ers at the time. But I'm a fan of Larry Brown. That's another story. But he says at the press conference, I'm really happy we won. He's like, it's very unfortunate we had to win with Vince Carter missing that shot because I know everyone's going to blame him for going to his graduation, which I respect him for doing it. He's like, but unfortunately, I know what everyone's going to say. And they did. They're like, they wouldn't have had to come from behind or Vince Carter wouldn't have had to do this much if he was there, which all he would have been doing is sleeping, folks. Which he did on the plane. I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
It was something that, and the fact that no one, I don't know, they all ran with that same thought and felt validated because he missed the shot. Even though he had a great game. Even though he made one of the best games he ever played, they still felt validated because he missed the shot.
You could argue he doesn't play as well as he did if he doesn't go. Or maybe because he doesn't hear all this criticism. He's just inspired by it. I mean,
yeah, I don't know, man.
There's like talking about hall passes, there's just always double standards, and people are supposed to be journalists. Even in sports, they're supposed to be journalists, and they're supposed to be objective. And I mean, you hear about stuff all the time. You hear about presidents that we had back years ago that people knew stuff was going on and they just wouldn't report it. I mean, you could argue that's still been going on. I guess with like Kennedy, some of the stuff became a little obvious. But even it's something as simple as sport. And I mean, we all love Michael Jordan. I know he's your favorite player.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite players. And people loved him so much in the media that they couldn't help but give him a pass.
Yep.
And I think, because there's a lot of stuff kind of just below the surface on Jordan.
Yep.
That if he had been a different guy,
he'd have been blasted.
Absolutely. And I feel like there's this whole story or two or three about Jordan that we don't even know about, that some people know about, and they totally just, well, we're not going to talk about that.
No.
Some little things kind of bubble up here and there, but nobody ever talks about it.
Or it goes away really quick.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan cheated on his wife, and it's like, he's Jordan. I mean, if you know anything about me, that's something that always bugs me. Like, when I heard that story, I was like, oh man, come on. You know, I don't know.
It's a small thing, but the fact that he almost ruined his career at one point because it appears drunk and cutting a cigar and cut his finger. And it's like, if that had been a certain person, if that had been Vince Carter.
Oh my goodness. Because he went to his graduation.
Yeah. And he got fired and you had a cigar.
This would have never happened.
Yeah.
No, that drives me crazy. I think Kobe Bryant gets that from, and people are like, oh, no. They killed Kobe Bryant during the rape trial. No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Not really.
They were all, well, you know, we need to wait for the facts to come out, and we need to wait for the facts to come out. And then, you know, when, we found out that it wasn't true, or wasn't what we thought it was, people were like, Kobe! And then it was like, everyone felt sorry for Kobe. How can he get his endorsements back? Blah, blah. But, you know, not me. I think he's a dick. And it was, you know, I think Jordan's a dick, but he's got redeemable qualities. He's charismatic to where, you know, you're like, dang, he's a dick, but he's kind of cool. I can't describe that. You know. There's certain people where you like, but he's got that personality where you're like, damn it, Jordan, I still like you. Well, Kobe doesn't have any of that. I think the dude has no personality whatsoever.
I haven't liked Kobe since day one. I thought he was a jerk from the beginning when he was a rookie. And what really about that whole rape trial thing? Where did he really come out looking like a good person?
No.
But
I don't know. There's just something about Kobe. Like, I'm sorry, judge for yourself. I know people like him because of his talent, and they always want to compare him to Jordan, but find me a player in the league, and where you look, Jordan had a lot of friends in the NBA, vice versa, you know, that a lot of the players respected him and liked him. You know, of course he had some enemies, that's only natural, but find me the players that are like, man, I really like Kobe, because I don't think Kobe has any of those players in the league that want to hang out with him, or like, yeah, Kobe's a good dude. I think they'll play basketball with him, and then let's go our separate ways. You know, I couldn't imagine having to be in a room with him.
People get a pass. My favorite is Charles Barkley because I give him the pass.
I give Charles the pass too. He's done some dumbass stuff, but this guy,
it's funny.
It's a personality. I mean,
personality goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. You know,
like that thing already.
He's got way more personality than that. So I guess we'll be winding down unless you got anything else to say.
No, I think that's good.
I hope you kind of got the things that we were saying. Erase the hate, people. Erase the hate.
That was good.
Yeah. That
was kind of emotional.
I don't know. The dumbass stereotypes that people like to throw out there and get away with annoy me. You know, I don't know.
This has been Jimmy Coco and Slappy White.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.